students, how are you today? I hope all of you are in a good day. Well, I am Desi Wisudawati. You can call me Miss Desi. I'm from English Education Department batch 2017 of Universitas Kristen Indonesia. In this video, I will teach you about obligation and prohibition. So, I hope you are ready for that. Today, our topic is obligation and prohibition. In this video, you are going to learn how to use modal verbs to express obligation and prohibition. After you learn this topic, you are expected to be able to classify the modal verbs of obligation and prohibition to someone according to the context. Also, you are expected to be able to evaluate how to give obligation and prohibition to someone by write sentences. Now, before we start talking about modal verbs, which we have so many modal verbs, such as can, may, must, shall, will, ought to, need, be to, have to, would, should, and used to, and etc. Let's talk about some of the rules that we have around since the pandemic of COVID-19. We should all know about these rules to win the fight against COVID-19. If you have any idea about this, you may share your thoughts in the comment section. Meanwhile, let me share to you some of the rules that we have in order to avoid the spreading of the virus. I got this picture from Health Direct, and then this picture is about how to avoid infection or spreading the virus of COVID-19. The first, you must wash your hands regularly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. And then you should avoid touching your eyes, nose, or mouth. You must cover your mouth or nose when coughing or sneezing. And then you must wear a mask to protect yourself and others. We have to avoid close contact with anyone. We must clean and disinfect frequently touch objects and surfaces. And the last, we must stay at home unless absolutely necessary. By looking to our first activity, I expect that you are getting to know what lesson we are going to learn today. Modal verbs. We often use modal verbs in our life, and if we often use them, then we have to know how to use them properly. So what is modal verbs? Modal verbs is a modal, which a type of helping verb that is used to express ability, possibility, or obligations, and many others. So, these are words that express different kinds of things. In this lesson, we are going to focus on modal verbs that we use to express obligation and then prohibition. Let's begin with obligation first. Obligation. We can use must and have to say that it is necessary to do something or to express obligation in English. When we use must, the authority for the obligation comes from the person who is speaking. Must expresses a strong obligation or necessity. It is used in the present and in the future. For example, I must learn math because tomorrow is the exam. You must be home by 10 o'clock. She must tidy her room before she goes out. The second one is have to. Have to shows us that the obligation comes from the outside the speaker. We use forms of have to for all other tenses. We can use had to in the past. For example, you have to stay at home. We have to wear a mask in the midst of COVID-19 to prevent the spread of the virus. At school, we have to wear a uniform. Also, another information for you, we can use have to make a question. You can use do or does in present simple, and then you can use did in the past. For example, like, do I have to buy a grammar book, does she have to attend the meeting, and so on. The differences between must and have to. With must, the speakers are given their own feelings. They are saying what they think is necessary. For example, I must study math if I want to pass the exam, because they think that it's really necessary to do, right? And on the other hand, with have to, the speakers are not giving their feelings. They are just giving facts. For example, I can't come on Friday, I have to work. Students have to wear uniforms at this school. The pattern of obligation. Follow this pattern in order to make a good sentence of obligation. The first formula is subject, I, you, we, they, and so on, plus must or have to, plus verb, plus object. For example, you must wear a uniform. The second one is subject plus must or have to, plus verb, and plus complement. We have to study hard for the test. We as the subject, the use of have to, verb as study hard, and complement as the task. Modal verbs for prohibition are used when we want to say that something is not allowed or permitted. The modal verbs used are may, can, and must. They are used as a negatives, such as cannot, may not, and must not. We can use cannot to talk to someone that we are close to, and may not is to someone that we are respect for, in the polite way, and must not, we can use it both to the context. The first one, cannot. We can use can't or cannot to talk about something that is against the rules, particularly when we didn't make the rules. For example, you can't park in my house. We can't take photographs in this museum. You can't smoke in here. The second one is must not. We use must not or mustn't when we talk about things that are not allowed. They are prohibited and against the rules or even against the law. For example, you mustn't use your mobile phone in the class. It is prohibited or it is forbidden because it shows disrespectful for the teacher and your other friends. And the second one, I mustn't cheat on exam. You mustn't use a laptop on a plane. It is forbidden. So in order to make a good sentence about prohibition, we have to follow the pattern of it. The pattern of prohibition are subject plus must not or mustn't plus verb plus complement. For example, we must not cheat on the final exam. And then the second one, you mustn't smoke. It is still fine and okay if you just use subject plus must not or mustn't plus verb only if the sentence is correct. Besides the use of must and have to in expression of obligation, we can use another expression such as obligatory, necessary, and responsibility. For example, for obligatory first, it is an obligatory to stop when the traffic light turns red. For the necessary, it is necessary that we follow these guidelines. Or it is important to follow these guidelines. It is our responsibility to clean our house. You might try to make a sentence by using this expression and comment in the comment section below. How about prohibition? Well, these are the expressions of prohibitions besides cannot or must not. For example, prohibited. It is prohibited to make graffiti on the school walls. The second one, not allowed. You are not allowed to enter the museum. And the third one, forbidden. It is forbidden to feed animals in the zoo. Well, for better understanding, let's practice about today's material. I'm going to read the questions and then you can pause this video and answer it first. Then you can play the video because I will tell the answer. The first one, which one of the pair expresses an obligation? A. I must go to the school. Or B. I will go to the school. The correct answer is A. I must go to the school. Number 2. Which one of the pair expresses a strong prohibition? A. We must not leave this museum. Or B. We can't leave this museum. The correct answer is A. We must not leave this museum. Number 3. Which one of the pair expresses moral obligation? A. Parents should teach their children how to solve the problems. Or B. Parents must teach their children how to solve the problems. The correct answer is B. Parents must teach their children how to solve the problems. How about this one? As we know, this picture is passport of Republik Indonesia. Have passport to travel around the world. So which expressions that match with the sentence? The correct answer is you have to have a passport to travel around the world. Why we have to use have to in this sentence? Because in the previous slides I have told you about the differences between the use of must and have to. When we use must, that means it is based on our feelings and it is necessary, and have to is not necessary, but it is a fact because we can't go to any places that we want if we don't have any passport. How about this picture? Wear a uniform. Which expressions that match with the picture? They have to wear a uniform. The third one, the girl is sleeping when the teacher is explaining something. She is sleeping in the class. So which expressions that match with this picture? Yes, you mustn't sleep in the class because it shows a disrespectful for the teacher who explaining the material or to other friends who focus on the explanation of the teacher. If you want to sleep, you have to do it in your house or any places except class, because class is the place that we study, we gain information from the teacher, we play with our friends, and etc. So class is not a place for sleeping, so you mustn't sleep in the class. How about smoke on a plane? So which expressions that we have to use in these conditions? Yes, you mustn't smoke on a plane because it is forbidden. It is not safe for the plane and for people around you. I think that's all for today's class. For the reflections, please write a journal of reflection or our learning process regarding to today's material includes I have just learned to the activities I like most were, or the activities I found most difficult were, and what I need to do better is or are. So for your homework regarding to today's material, you have to make 5 sentences of obligation in public places. And also you have to make 5 sentences of prohibition at school. And then after you finish making those sentences, you can send it through my email. This is my email address. Well, students, thank you so much for watching this video.
I hope this video will help you in learning English. See you in another video. Bye!